Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Wednesday, a hump day. It feels like it's a teammates and cousins day, and now we're worried about Oregon Day. Cody, what is going on? We've titled this thing "Duck Fight." Is Texas having to go to war for the Croots against Oregon?
Yeah, man. I mean, why wouldn't they, right? Last year was decoring more. Every year, I think Oregon's going to be in the conversation.
Which is wild, by the way. Can I just say off the bat? I mean, it's just like, why does Texas have to worry about Oregon coming into and it's not like the players we're going to talk about in the backyard, but Oregon technically didn't really outspend Texas last year.
You don't have to outspend them. You just have to be competitive with the spending,
wild
and creative with it. And who were we talking to? We're talking to an Oregon source. I feel like it was at the Combine. Maybe it was a Senior Bowl. And they kind of laughed and they would go, dude, like Rashad Samples had one job, right? One job.
Oh, that was at the
He's hired to do one thing, right?
Yeah.
What was it? To get Corey Moore. And they did it, right? So it's like, Oregon's going to be combative in a lot of these things. They had the number one class in the country last year until they had lost some guys at the last minute. And Texas, I think that was right when they got Terry. And then at the same time, Oregon lost a couple guys, giving Texas the number one overall class consensus. I wouldn't say quite to the level of Ohio State as far as like coming into Texas and trying to like take your food, but Oregon's going to be a pain in the butt. And this time around, it's not actually a guy from Texas. It's just a guy from Georgia who's the number one linebacker in the country, Tyler Atkinson from Grayson High School, who we've talked about a few times before. He and his teammate, Anthony Davis, probably the highest ranked linebacking duo in the country.
Oh, have to be. I mean,
yeah. And you said right before the show, you're like, man, this isn't even like these guys are not even close to this. Like, they're obviously not the same. I mean, Tyler Atkinson is, he was one of the guys that went down to New Orleans for the Super Bowl and was doing a bunch of the interview roundabouts and stuff. And he met up with like Micah Parsons and Jalen Walker and these other guys that wear number 11, went to Georgia, did all this stuff. And they're like, man, he's the next one. Atkinson, he's the next one.
He's really special, man. And the reason we're talking about Atkinson, it's not necessarily because we think that Texas is in it for him.
I mean, they're trying. I mean, they're in it.
I mean, they're trying.
Yeah,
they're trying. But we just explain what it is with the teammates, why Oregon matters. There's also the issue of Talanoa Ely. From Hawaii. He's cousins with Brandon Baker at Texas, right? And so there's all kinds of family stuff, teammate stuff here, but like, what's the conspiracy theory here about Oregon and why it would matter versus staying at home for Georgia?
So the reason that this matters in not a galaxy brain context, but like in a multitude of ways that go into one thing is Tyler Atkinson's the number one linebacker in the country. Talanoa Ely, who we talked about last week from Hawaii, is the number 3 linebacker in the country. There's no linebackers from the state of Texas inside the top 12. Both of those guys are 1 and 3. Anthony Davis from Grayson, who's the teammate of Tyler Atkinson, is ranked 13th in the country. Then at 14 is Tyon King, who is kind of right now like a heavy Texas lean. I don't know what the percentage is that Jason put on him, but he's number 14 in the country. So we're talking about 3 linebackers that are ahead of him, out-of-state guys. And Tyler Atkinson, who's been thought of as sort of a Georgia lock, he's going to stay in the state, he's going to go to Georgia, just kind of one of those things, has been thought of that way. The thing is if Oregon gets Tyler Atkinson, I know it's March, this is futuristic hypotheticals here. If he were to go to Oregon, it opens a door where Georgia's going to go the Anthony Davis route. Anthony Davis, the linebacker, I know same name as the basketball player, but Anthony Davis from Grayson, Georgia, today said he's going to be visiting Georgia tomorrow for an unofficial visit this spring. So he'll be at Georgia tomorrow. And then you have the Illy thing where he was at Oklahoma last weekend. Oklahoma feels like they're in a great spot. I have that in my Behind the Enemy Lines column. So they feel like they're in a good spot with Talanoa Ely, like Texas does because of their connection with Johnny Nansen and Brendan Baker. But Oregon is also in on Talanoa Ely. So, again, these are like the 3 big names at the linebacker position right now when you're talking about the Texas circle. Again, they feel like Atkinson's probably a little far out there to grab, but with him potentially thinking about Oregon. This is his first visit to Oregon. That's the big takeaway here. It's not like he's been there 3 times. This is like the first time. So it could sway a guy heavily going out west for the first time and seeing Oregon. So that's kind of the big takeaway here.
So is it your assertion that Atkinson and Anthony Davis would like to play together, like to be a package deal together in college? Would it be better for Atkinson to actually like Oregon, so he goes to Oregon, and then there's not such a draw for both of the dudes to go to Georgia, to where maybe Anthony Davis would be open to Texas? Or are you saying that if Texas fans, if they don't think that Texas gets Atkinson, it would be good if Atkinson goes to Oregon rather than staying home in Georgia, because then Georgia's attention would switch to Anthony Davis, which wouldn't be great.
It wouldn't be great. So to kind of tie this all together, Atkinson. So Oregon has one commit already in the top 10 at the linebacker position, Tristan Phillips, who has a Texas offer. I reached out to him like a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and asked him kind of where his recruiting sat. He basically said he's not going to shut any doors, because very wise person would say this, a very wise young man would say this is like, I want to have as many connections as possible. So if something happens down the line when you're pro, you have these connections, right? But he's like, I am as locked in as you can get with Oregon. He's the number 10 ranked linebacker in the country right now, Tristan Phillips is. So they have a linebacker that's already high end. So if they hypothetically got an Atkinson or an Illy, then it makes Texas shift. So if they get Illy, I think Texas shifts directly to Davis. If Atkinson goes to Oregon, I think Texas is left looking at Illy or Davis.
And if they already have if Oregon already has a top 10 linebacker and Atkinson goes there's no way Illy's going to go.
They're not getting 3. Yes, that's my kind of where my thought goes. Like if they get Atkinson and they have Phillips, then that means Illy is probably more of a lean towards Texas than anything. If Illy goes to Oregon, hypothetically, then that means Atkinson likely still goes to Georgia, and then Davis is on the Texas kind of angle. It kind of makes it sound like Texas is kind of getting the short hand of the stick, just because, well, this guy's here and this guy's here. Well, that means Texas gets this guy. But it's a roundabout way. These are the best linebackers in the country, top 12, top 15 guys. And it's also March. But this is just unraveling news, because Davis is going to be at Georgia tomorrow. Like I said, Illy was at Oklahoma last week. He likes Texas. And Atkinson's going to Oregon for the first time for his initial visit here this weekend.
So what do you obviously let's just take these 3 guys. Best possible outcome for Texas is Texas landing Atkinson and Illy.
Oh gosh.
Right? Well, that's the best possible outcome.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But that's a 1%er, right?
That's a 1%er, yeah. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, you're saying there's a chance. The second best outcome would be Texas somehow landing Atkinson.
By himself.
Yeah. The third best outcome would be Texas landing Illy.
Yep.
Right?
And like something, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, they're going to get more than one guy, but I mean, they're going to get like 3 or 4 guys.
Right. I'm talking about out of these 3.
Yeah,
I guess honestly, you'd rather have Atkinson than Illy and Anthony Davis, right? Just get the mega stud. Get the guy that looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, because I watch him and I know it's like, I feel like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, that it's a guy you think he weighs 210. He looks like he's a higher BMI guy than 210 to me, just watching him play. But with the way he moves, I can believe he's 210, because he moves faster than anybody should at 225 or something like that, right? But if he really is 210, you think he can probably fill out to a 225. But if he is a 6'2", 225-pound linebacker, he's gonna be an off-ball linebacker, because we talked yesterday about Harold Perkins Jr. and about how the positional stuff with him, right? How they've just had trouble with like, is he going to play edge? Is he going to play off ball? Now they're playing him at star, like, dime linebacker stuff this year is the plan. And you get stuck as a tweener. And of course you don't want that. Okay. But I just can't help it. Whenever I watch Tyler Atkinson, I'm like, dude, this guy looks like he can kind of bend the edge and knife off the line of scrimmage and be a pass rusher too. So I'm not saying I think that that's where you line him up at edge, but you said he wears number 11, like Colin Simmons and Micah, and like Micah was a guy that they use sort of like that. And doesn't Abdul Carter wear number 11 too?
Correct. I think Carter might have been in that group too when they were at the Super Bowl. I don't remember.
A lot of these sick guys are wearing number 11 these days, Cody. But that kind of has to me a little bit of an air to it, where it's like this is a player that you're going to play him at off-ball linebacker, but you're going to do and it's like so tilting. It's so tilting that, whenever I was asking, well, it's tilting that Oregon's always in on this stuff, but it's also tilting that whenever I was asking somebody, not somebody in the program, but somebody close to the program, about this whole Trey Moore thing and about how they're going to play him, and they're just like, well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to use him like Georgia uses their linebackers, and you never know where Jalen or Mike Hill is going to line up. I guess
that's a cool concept.
At Texas, I haven't really seen that as much. I would love to kind of see that happen. I'd love to see that sort of development in the defense, and I think it could. And they move Anthony Hill around and stuff like that. But it's not just like we said like that first Georgia game felt a little bit like a haunted house and all, like you know what I mean? You're walking in a house full of mirrors and you just don't know where, it's like, what's what around here. Quinn certainly felt that way. He got benched. So I don't know. It's just like I think that whenever you present that kind of, I think that's the kind of package you need to present to a guy like Atkinson. I just can't tell you, man, that highlight how impressive it is with the different traits he has, the different things that he can do. And so I do think that if you were able to land him, and Texas, it's not like Texas is out of it with the guy, but I think you need to have a presentation about how he's going to be used.
Well, here's this. Like, I know Jason is going to update his recruiting board here in the near future, but when he did it exactly a month ago, the 2026 recruiting board, the 5 linebackers he put odds on was Atkinson, Kosi Okpala from Texas, Tyon King, who I mentioned before, Anthony Davis, Atkinson's teammate, and DeQuiv Beck. And he put 45% on Kosi Okpala, Tyon King 45%, DeQuiv Beck 45%, Atkinson got 35%, Anthony Davis got 30%. I'll be interested to see where those numbers shift to. He didn't have Illy on the percentage board. He had him on the offered and on the radar board. So Illy's going to enter that conversation when he updates that soon. And I'll be interested to see where his brain goes for these guys as well.
Anthony Davis, though, for you, 100%, like 100% a take.
Oh yeah, he's a take. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think Kosi Okpala, when you look at him from, he's from Maid Creek. I saw him down at the Rivals 5-star a year ago. He's 6'2", 215. This guy is a long athlete that plays linebacker, and he's the 25th ranked linebacker in the country. So it's like you're going to get a guy that's probably lower ranked, like the Okpala. Jason writes 3 or 4 linebackers in this class. So think about like a Okpala probably being your lowest ranked guy. He's a 4-star, 5.9. Tyon King's like a heavy favorite in recent write-ups I've read from Jason. So it's like those 2 guys feel like really good Texas leans. And then hypothetically you get like an Anthony Davis or a Talona Ely or a Tyler Atkinson. I feel like that's a strong three-way group. I'm not sure you get 2 of the top 3 guys we're talking about tonight, though.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna get them. But just for the record, for you, it's Atkinson, Ely, Davis, right? And a pretty big gap between Atkinson.
Correct.
Well, we got a duck fight on our hands. I don't know how it's going to turn out for Texas.
Duck fight. You ever seen a duck fight? I almost had a duck fight in my pond today.
What? Why? What happened?
My precious perfect dog that's 4 years old. I'm sitting on the deck in the sun like we do most days for an hour or two, and I'm working, and I don't think anything of this dog, and he just jogs away, and I go, oh, he's going to go to the bathroom, right? He's going to go mind his own business. And 6 minutes go by, and I realize I don't know where the dog's at. And I'm in a residential neighborhood, but I got a pond through a fence in my yard. There's always geese over there. There's a couple ducks in the pond. The dog has never gone over there through the fence ever. So I go walk around the whole perimeter of the yard. I can't see the pond because I have brush, but I can hear it, whatever. So I walk all the way around the whole yard, 5-6 minutes, still don't see him, Then I hear some barking in the distance. So I run over to this pond, like I go to jump my fence, almost break it, and the dog is in the pond.
He's in the pond.
He's 3 feet into the pond.
We got to tell people what kind of dog this is. A little Cocker Spaniel or something.
This dog is. He's sleeping right now, but he's about 2 feet, maybe 2 feet tall. No, maybe a foot and a half tall, right? He's very short, but he's got some nice long legs on him. He was up to his brisket. He was up to his brisket in the water, and he was like, the geese were 10 feet in. He was like 3 feet in.
Has he ever shown any game drive before?
He'll chase squirrels in the yard. He'll chase animals in the yard, like to get him out of here. But he like very quickly like quits. He's never bitten anything in his life. He's the least vicious thing in the damn I wish he was vicious, right? But he goes through the fence. I wasn't paying attention and almost drowns himself. I'll be honest with you. When I heard his barking, I thought he was drowning himself. I was like, oh, like a dog, like up to its fight. Oh, like that's what I thought I was going to go watch. And instead he's in there like barking at these geese, barking at these ducks. Like
you were going to be in big trouble.
What are you doing?
You're going to be in big trouble with the wife if anything would have happened, man.
Well, I texted her. I go, I came the closest I've ever come today to just strangling this dog. It's a joke, but I was like, he is perfect. 4 years, never done anything. Never pooped on the carpet. Never peed on nothing. Never bit nobody. Bit nothing. And all of a sudden, he's trying to attack some geese in the pond. I'm like, bro, what?
He got a wild hair, man.
He snapped.
It's crazy, dude. Well. It's crazy, and I'll tell you what, it's also crazy to go buy beef anywhere except exactly where I'm going to talk about, right? Texas beef traders. I think you'd be crazy. I think it would take you getting one of those wild hairs up your like Cody's dog did today for you to scramble over there to the grocery store and go get this meat that's filled up with like vaccines and antibiotics and everything that's bad. You get 10% off at Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. If you live in the Austin area, they'll just bring it to your house. Texas Beef Traders is the best there is, and it's not just because it's local. It's not just because it's so healthy and nutritious. It's not just because it comes from 3 different ranches, 3 different ancient 2,500-year-old herds of animals. Their DNA is like registered. These are amazing, amazing animals, but it's also just an amazing store. It's amazing people. It's a great meat shop, man. We can't thank them enough. We're gonna have I think we have beef jerky back in today, so we can put up the beef jerky link here in a little while. But man, you got to go into Texas Beef Traders. It's right there off of Loman's Crossing, right there in the heart of Lakeway. It's going to be the best experience that you've ever had going into any shop, any small business. I'll say that. You've never been into a more fun, more cool small business. And I know you're saying, Alex, that's super wild. It's a meat shop. It's 800 square feet. Just go. Texas Beef Traders. If I'm lying, I'm dying. You got to go. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com, and make sure you get that 10% off discount every time you go in. It's not just like a first time deal.
You know what they should put? We should get Darren a sign to put like in the shop or outside the shop or something that is Texas Beef Traders, and that just says more than a meat shop.
Yes, I don't think that Darren needs any help with his signage and stuff. Maybe he does. Sometimes he looks like he just draws that stuff with crayons and puts it up on. Yeah, it's good. It is definitely more than a meat shop. There's a QR code there to the beef jerky. There should be one in the description below. Okay. Do you want to talk about the Quinn Ewers thing?
Yep.
Okay, so Quinn Ewers, I was talking to somebody last night. They were telling me, somebody who would know, said that he's got and I thought it was noteworthy. So I made a post on X and I put it on Orange Bloods that Quinn has a, what I was told was a top 30 visit with the Dallas Cowboys. And I thought it was interesting because, it's the Cowboys. And I thought it's interesting because, it's Quinn Ewers, and, we can put things together, as far as what teams might be thinking or where they might be looking or all the rest of it, because these top 30 visits they're important visits. And what a top 30 visit is, for people who might not know what that is basically every team gets 30 visits, kind of in-house, or I guess in-facility visits, prior to the NFL draft with players. And it doesn't mean that they're like top 30 on their board, but it's one of the top 30 players that they would like more information on. So when they use these top 30 visits, they can have the prospects interact with the people around the building or the coaching staff or the players who are in there working out and things like that. They can also meet with the team trainers and the doctors and stuff like that and get extra medical info. And when they're on these visits, they tour the facilities, they meet the important people around there, watch film with the coaching staff, just kind of get to know everything, right? It's an extra bit of information gathering, but you only get 30. Now, it's been pointed out to me since then that something I probably should have thought of is maybe what Quinn will have with them could be considered a local visit that won't count against the Cowboys' top 30. But what I was told was top 30.
Mm-hmm.
But what local visits are, though, is if the player resides locally. And I do believe right now Quinn Ewers is actually residing in the Dallas area. So maybe they could use a local visit on him. Local visits are different, though, because those are unlimited. Generally, what happens on local visits is you'll have, like, the Cowboys, the way that I understood it, at least as it was like 3 years ago, they would have something called Dallas Day, where they would bring in a whole lot of local guys. But I guess technically they could maybe save a top 30 visit by bringing in Quinn as a local visit out, but it would not be a Dallas Day type of visit, if that makes sense. It's an actual visit with the team. So the one difference, though, is if they do treat it as a local visit, and I'm not going to text back and just ask about the details of this, so we can just kind of talk over what either one is. But the good news is if it's a local visit, those visits are traditionally all right. So take Green Bay for example. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Their local visits, the only guys that they're going to be able to get to come into a local visit are dudes from, like, Wisconsin Whitewater or things like this. So there aren't too many NFL prospects that are residing in the immediate areas around Green Bay while they're doing their pre-draft stuff, right? So not every team's like Dallas, where it's like it's a hub where everybody lives, or Houston or stuff like that. So the reason for these visits, for the local ones, as opposed to the top 30, is generally they are almost always used to get in the lower key guys, the guys that you just kind of live around you and you just kind of want, it's a way the NFL extends an olive branch to these guys that don't get to the combine and all they have is their pro days. And it's a way to get them in front of the teams, right? And kind of give them a chance. With that being understood, the main difference between a local visit and a top 30 visit, again, the one is that they're unlimited, but two is that you can work them out. So I guess even though I reported as a top 30 visit, I think it would be stupid for Dallas to use a top 30 visit on Quinn, because they can do everything. They can do the medicals. They can do everything on just a local visit, just not make it. I think what it is it's going to be a local visit, non-Dallas day that won't count against their top 30 visits. And if I were them, I would work them out. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do.
So 2 notes. One is from last year's draft cycle. I found some information that only listed Byron Murphy and Jonathan Brooks as taking 30 visits with the Cowboys. Byron Murphy from DeSoto and Jonathan Brooks from Hallettsville. So two different situations near San Antonio and near
But
and near.
DeSoto should be considered a local
Correct. Here's the thing. So I also looked up, and this could be wrong as well, but AI overview tells me that Texas Longhorns do not qualify for a local visit. And when you Google local versus top 30, local says teams can host local players, those from the team's metropolitan area or who attend college nearby. I understand what you're saying as far as where he resides, but I just wonder if potentially there's again, I don't have the 7,000 page NFL guideline book,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Well, I guess it's like,
I don't know what a 30 visit, or I don't know what a local visit would exclude Quinn from doing that Dallas may want if they label it a 30 visit. Regardless, he's visiting Dallas.
yeah. I mean that much is for sure. So what does that mean to you about state of play? Anything?
It's interesting. It's something I want a situation I want Quinn to be in. I think being close to home would be probably ideal for him. That'd be sort of probably a dream come true for him to play in Texas. I think we've kind of tried to manifest this Matthew Stafford backup situation in Los Angeles. They obviously brought back Garoppolo yesterday or day before, and they have Stetson Bennett on the roster. I think you look at other opportunities for him like that. So Dak in Dallas shouldn't surprise us because I don't know what he is, 30 now, 29, 30. Like he might be higher than 30. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But a situation like that, he's in state, Dallas making a splash play for the Longhorn quarterback shouldn't really surprise us. And I like the situation for Quinn, injury-prone quarterback backing up an injury-prone quarterback.
Dak is coming into his age 32 season.
32, there you go.
I'll be interested to see on spot track just what the exact details are of the.
He just got his extension 2 years ago, so he's probably got 2 or 3 years.
I forgot if that was I think it was a 4-year deal. Let me just see though.
4 years for 230.
Spot rack right now they are just, it's so slow right now with free agency going on and everybody wanting to know. So I can't pull it up right now, but I'm 99% sure it's a 4-year deal.
I can't believe you would go against Grok and go to Spotrac.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, so it was he signed a 4-year, $240 million contract with the Cowboys with an $80 million signing bonus, $231 million guaranteed. Gosh, average salary is $60 million.
Grok is the best. You could have got the result in 10 seconds.
Grok is really good.
Grok broke the whole contract down for you.
Well, ask when the potential out is.
When is the potential out in this contract?
Because it looks like, to me, it looks like here, Spotrac is saying 2028.
Earliest realistic out for the Cowboys post 2026 season.
Okay.
The first realistic out before the 5th day of the 2027 league year, when $45 million in 2027 becomes guaranteed. By this point, the Cowboys will have paid him $169 million, leaving $71 non-guaranteed over the final 2 years.
And so they could get out. So that would 166. So that would leave how much dead?
It would leave 44 dead. But cap savings releasing him would save $16 million in 2027 against the cap. Assuming no further restructures.
Okay.
Obviously, 2027 is definitely much better for their roster, but 2026 would not be ideal for a cut.
Yeah. Okay. So I still want him to go to the Rams.
Yeah.
Could Quinn Ewers, people around Quinn Ewers and people who really like him and who are his friends and who talk to him and stuff like that, and the people who I talk to about this stuff, they're saying like they think he's quarterback 3 in the class. Have you heard anybody bring this up at all, or you think that's just kind of wishful thinking for the people around him?
I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like he'll go third.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just be blunt with it. Like, I know we can sit here and talk about this quarterback class for a 3-hour
I,
podcast
I
by
I
itself.
personally think it's like a 5 to 10% chance that
He's the third quarterback off the board.
He's 5%er.
That's probably a good number.
No, maybe 10.
I think you're going to see the Milrow thing get some more gas over the next 6 weeks. And that athleticism is going to be hard for people to push away in the early part of the second round, specifically, if not pushed up to that stupid 31-32 overall trade up in draft. Jackson Dart, I think you're going to be looking at teams. Right now, we're looking at teams like the Giants, who are kind of caught with their hands, their pants around their ankles.
Especially if this Rodgers to Minnesota thing heats up.
I don't think it will. Somebody just went on a live show like with.
Okay, but what if the Russell Wilson to Cleveland thing heats up?
So that's where I was going. Was like the Giants have their pants around their ankles. The Browns are looking to have their pants around their ankles because they're obviously going after Russell Wilson, which I didn't really expect. I expected that to be a Shador situation. And if they don't go after Shador, that means the Saints maybe are a Shador team. And then that leaves the Browns wide open with a Russ. That leaves the Giants wide open. That means Pittsburgh is still open post Rodgers. They got to draft somebody at some point, probably in this class. There's multitude of spots that are open, quote unquote, that need a quarterback, that need a two, that need a potential competitor in camp. And a Dart is going to be a top 50 pick. Milrow is going to be a top 50 pick. Quinn, I can't tell you today is going to be a top 50 pick. And the guy that's got the most conversation right now is Tyler Shough from Louisville. So it's like that's 5 dudes.
Well, the guy I was talking to last night, he's like, "What are you talking about with Shough? He's older than Quinn and he's more hurt."
Teams aren't worried about the age.
But what I was telling him that I know of one team. I know of one team that they said that they have a medical doc on Quinn, and he's like, "Well, if they have a medical doc, why don't they have one on Shough? He's hurt every year. It was his first year healthy this year, and he's about to be like what 20, or he's already 25."
Yeah, but he's also got NFL prototypical size and has more traits overall than Quinn does. Quinn has good arm talent. What other trait does he have? Leadership. He's quiet.
Yeah. I mean, Shough definitely has a big, impressive personality.
Shough went to the combine, ran. He was the alpha of the whole situation at the quarterback position during the combine. Even though he's not the most talented or the best, he was the alpha of the situation. And
he's the one that went and did every drill and stuff because he's just like, I'm just here to compete. And I think people liked that. But at the end of the day, that's not. I don't know. I think
we're debating which penny is the shiniest because there's no quarters in the class, right? It's like, Cam Ward's probably a dime, Shador's probably a nickel. The rest of these guys are pennies, and there's no quarters. There's no Caleb's. There's no Burrows. There's nothing here that's real. So we're just, well, I like this guy because he's this. Well, it's like, well, that guy's banged up. That guy doesn't have prototypical size. He's undersized. He's got a weak arm. That guy's 29, 26, whatever. He's been hurt every year. He had one good season. He's got a bunch of traits. This guy is going to run a 4.4, Jalen Milrow, but he can't throw a football and hit a barn in front of him. And
sometimes he can. You just never know when it's going to happen.
And it might go through the barn. And then you have Jackson Dart, who we've been waiting this whole process.
On his games in his biggest moments, and you see a dude melt. And also, you like at the Senior Bowl, I'm like, give me something. Just give me something. And I couldn't believe it. It was like I felt like, what's that term people use about getting like gas stove? Like I feel like I was getting gaslit by the big media, like saying like, it's been amazing what Jackson Dart's done here. I'm like, are we watching? Like, we're in the same movie theater. We're watching a different dang movie here on the screen. Like, what are you seeing that I'm not? I thought he would.
Jack Besh went up and mossed some dude on the sideline with a ball that was overthrown by Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart made a great. No, he didn't make a good throw. He overthrew the hell out of his receiver, and the receiver made a play. It's like it's the same thing you say. It's like, man, we're in the same movie theater watching different movies. And that's just how it is sometimes with all these other analysts. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole the whole Dart thing has been, getting gaslit by all of these media members that are like, yeah. And it's like,
He hasn't had that good a process.
He hasn't done like and
We've
all
been
and,
there,
and
bro.
also this about
It's
you.
like we're just
You've
reading
been the
reports.
one.
It's
You've
like
been
we're
much
reading
more
reports
of the
on NBC
line.
Sports. I mean, we go to all these events. We go see them. We meet them. We talk to them. We watch every single rep. We've done everything that an accredited member of the media can do. Isn't like, outside of actually going to the games during the season and scouting the dude and talking to the janitors and doing the stuff that the scouts do, everything that the media entity has been available to do, and go there to do their analysis from this side of the coin, right? From this side of the industry, we've done it. And like we're just reading what Todd McShay writes in his newsletter. We've seen it. You can't. I mean, it's so I don't. I don't get it. I don't get it with the Jackson Dart stuff. And that is coming from a guy like I kind of like Dart. I look at him and I look at some of his games. I'm like, dude, this guy's awesome. It's like, can I see it at some point through this process? If people are acting like they're like, well, what do you mean? Can you see it? Weren't you at the Senior Bowl? But yes. I've been going to the Senior Bowl a decade before you even knew what it was. I was there. I was there. So I don't get it. I don't know, man. I guess I'll say I just don't think it's super crazy for people around Quinn or stuff like that for them to have hope that he could be the third QB off the board. I don't think it's wild.
I don't think it's wild, but I don't think it's real.
He's gonna go second round though now, right?
Maybe.
It's gonna be a Derek Carr. He's gonna go second round.
Yeah.
Didn't Derek Carr go second round?
Carr, Hurts, Garoppolo.
Did Cousins go second round?
No, he was fourth.
When did Russell Wilson go? Fourth?
Yeah, him and Dak and Cousins were all fourth.
If Cousins went.
Levis was the most recent second round pick, and then before that it was Trask in 2021. Hurts.
Drew Are you telling me that Quinn Ewers won't go before Kyle Trask?
Drew Lock. Well, Trask has more traits. Deshaun Kaiser, 2017.
Come on.
Christian Hackenberg.
Well, I mean,
Derek Carr, Garoppolo, same class. Geno Smith, white Geno Smith. That's who he is. Why not?
It feels like he's going to be a second round pick.
Andy Dalton.
And it just hurts because the Rams, they don't have a second round pick. They have to trade up to get him. And it feels like to me like the Rams are in the mode where they're going to be trying to get more picks. Maybe they'll trade down and get more through the second.
Do you think God, Cleveland be such a bad
dude, don't even think it.
Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson sitting there, and then they're going to draft a quarterback at some point.
Don't even put that out there, dude. Can you imagine sending Quinn up there in the cold?
The Giants have to draft a quarterback at some point.
That'd be tough too, man. It's a really tough media market. I think you go to God. Yeah, I want to go to the Rams, dude.
Dude, what about Vegas? 37.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's. I mean,
go behind Geno.
It's a dome.
Geno 37. I use pick 68 on Quinn. I'm not using pick 37 on Quinn.
You never know, man. Anyway, it's just interesting. Top 30 visit there for Quinn Ewers to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see. This is one you put in that I haven't even read. So maybe you want to read this out and you can tell me what it means.
All right. So I did my NIL Nuggets of the Week column. I got that started up today over on Orange Bloods. And one of the topics of conversation was a column that was written today on the USA Today from Matt Hayes, and it was titled "College Sports and Athletic Departments Don't Have a Revenue Problem; They Have a Spending Problem, a Spending Issue." Sorry.
Sounds like another thing I know a little bit about. Anyway,
and so some of the tidbits from here that I have in my column is, in quote, "The next time you hear anyone from the college sports complain about the lack of revenue, laugh in their face. They'll have you believe these mean, greedy players have sidetracked an amateur sport, world of faithful and loyal do-gooders, and ransacked it for every dollar it's worth. If I had $1,000 every time a college football coach declared the current world of college sports, unsustainable, I could pay Luka Doncic's contract extension." He said, I blame the entire 70 schools that, are you ready for this? Will make an estimated $7.4 billion in fiscal year 2025, 2026, and as much as $10.5 billion in 2034, 2035, according to projections. Here's an example. Texas total operating athletic revenue from 2024's fiscal year was $331 million. It figures, but its figures for 8 categories used for the pool calculation was 172 million. Compare that to Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati, 38 million. That's a lot of revenue that these schools are creating.
Everything's bigger in Texas, brother.
And for like, you know, another person that this column referenced was Dan Lanning at the top, who makes like $11 million a year in his contract, right? And it's like it really I guess to me it really pops out that like the true greed, and we're talking about, you know, $20 million going to all the players. Well, the thing is there's no league without the players, right? If you hypothetically opened up a collegiate sports league or a collegiate XFL or something like this, where it was employee
NFL minor league,
yes, G League, whatever, right? Like NBA, the minor leagues in baseball, things like this, where you can just, in college basketball, you're 1 year gone, or in baseball, you don't even have to go to college. Something like this happened, these guys would be making considerably more money than they're making because of what the market brings in. And instead, the schools are just sucking all this money, right? And the coaches are getting, think about that. Dan Lanning's getting $11 million a year. I know Sark's up in that same conversation. And a 85-man roster has to split revenue also with other sports at the school. They have to split 20 million. So some schools, some football teams might not even get 11, 12 million. And that's what the coach is getting by himself. So
no, they're not going to, right. But out of this revenue, soon they're going to have the post July 1, they're going to have a certain amount that's set aside just because of the House settlement.
Correct. That's what I'm saying, is that's exactly what I'm referencing, is the revenue sharing. The number's projected to be 20 and a half. And what I'm saying is some football teams out there will not have a rev share split of $12 million, whereas there's coaches out there that are making 10, 11 million by themselves, not attached to the rev share. That's just their contract. And they're the ones that are out here saying, you know, this is unrealistic, this is unsustainable, blah, blah, blah. In reality, they're making more than probably their entire football team.
Well, I mean, I get it, but it is, you know, it is what it is. It's a lot more fair for players right now than it's ever been in all of history.
Correct.
But here's the other thing too. Is like, I don't know about Texas's exact financials or anything, but I do know what Chris Del Conte's job is like that athletic revenue. It's it's basically, it's not really a spending problem when it's kind of his job to basically spend all of it. You know what I mean? It's his job to say, like, what am I trying to do? Am I trying to turn over a huge profit here? No, I'm trying to put it all back into the programs.
Yep.
I'm trying to grow them. It's like whenever, I remember there's a thing a while back where it was like, you know, Aggies had more profits than the Longhorns this last year or something like that, but the Longhorns made more money, and the Aggies were trying to clown on Texas for saying like, haha, we made more money this year. It's like, well, like, you're clowning yourself, man. You didn't you're supposed to reinvest all that back into, you know, you're taking profits off the table. Like, you're supposed to reinvest that back into the, you know, into the help grow the infrastructure, make all the sports better. So it's part of the business of it. Like, man, college sports has always been a little bit, you know, I mean, there's been things about it that have always been a little bit icky. You've had to turn your eyes regarding, or kind of turn your head regarding, but, I think now it's, you know, I think things are more clear and more transparent than usual. I'm not going to buy any transparent, tequila this weekend. I'm going to buy Reposado tequila like I always do. I hate to do it because it's Casamigos. You know, it's
where do you get it usually?
Well, it's very expensive, right? But I get Casamigos for special occasions and stuff. It's not my everyday drinker. I'm going hunting. Going to be out in the woods. I got to get the reposado. Golden, delicious. And when it's expensive, it's like $76 at the local liquor store. Guess how much it is at Specs? $55. I saved $20 on just one, like $22 just by going into Specs, man. They're such great partners here. There are almost 800 of you guys watching in the Specs chat line. Thanks to you guys for being here, but we couldn't do it without the Specs chat line and our great friends over at Specs.
At Specs, it doesn't cost a lot to turn a good time into a great time, especially if you like saving money. From connoisseur collectors to aficionados of ale, you'll find bubbly bliss at any budget with a Texas-sized selection of world-class wines, rare spirits, craft beers, and more. So when you're getting ready for a good time, Specs is ready to make it great. Because at Specs, the fun starts here.
Shop Specs, low priced, amazing. Here's to you.
Yes, it's Football with Friends here on Orange Bloods Live. Alex Dunlap and Cody Carpentier here every night from 6 to 7 p.m. Central. As I mentioned, I'm out of town this weekend, so no show on Friday. We'll have a Final Takes Thursday tomorrow, and then we'll be back with you guys live here on Monday as usual, keeping on cranking through. One more thing here. This is another one you put in that I have no idea. It's something about Steph Curry, so I won't know much about it, but he's joining his alma mater, Davidson. So, okay, yeah. As an assistant GM for basketball. Kevin Durant should do that for Texas in the next 2 weeks? Is this your thought? Hold on. Well, first of all, I don't watch NBA basketball, period.
Me neither.
Both of those players are still active players in the league, correct?
Correct. Hence why I put it in here. So in my Nuggets section, this came out in the AP Monday night. Monday night it came out, and Steve Kerr, who is Stephen Curry's coach right now at Golden State, was quoted to say, "I'm wondering if he's going to clean house. Is he going to go there and fire everybody? I don't know. We'll see. He's got a big job on his hands." He cracked up. I think he's kind of busy, so I'm hoping it's a ceremonial role more than anything. If he asks me if he can leave and not play a game so he can go scout some college dudes, I'm probably going to say no. So that's the that's the nugget from his current NBA coach. But the way this thing reads is that he's going to be kind of the assistant, and he's going to be creating some sort of NIL situation for Davidson. I think the number I saw was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $8 to $10 million
Of his money?
Of his money for a foundation or a fund or some sort. I had it up. I don't know where the hell it went.
You're gonna need to send it every year.
So, well,
you can't just do that and then just leave it straight. I
put the fund up there and then you just trickle into it. I mean, for basketball, you only need like $1 million, $2 million, get one stud, and you're good, right? My question is, Stephen Curry is going to help fix Davidson, get them back to where he brought them. The current state of Texas, I think they won today. They were playing Vanderbilt a couple hours ago.
Oh, I have no idea. I was
supposed to say Big 12 champ, the Big 12. I can't even talk, man.
Yes,
college basketball,
yeah.
SEC tournament. They beat Vanderbilt, but they're 17-14. They've lost 7 of the last 9 games. The coach is probably on the outs. Would Kevin Durant?
If he's not on the outs, the fans are going to riot. He's terrible.
Would Kevin Durant sitting in an assistant GM type of a chair, would that do anything for the fans?
I don't know. It feels a whole lot like I don't know. It feels more like
feels like a Fugate, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a Matthew McConaughey minister of culture. It's cool. who knows? Who knows?
Kind of need it.
Who knows exactly? Who knows exactly what that's going to do? All right, man. We got a bunch of topics that we'll save for Final Takes Friday tomorrow. Thanks to everybody for being here. Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find us on X, at Cody Carpentier, at Alex Dunlap NFL. We always tell you that email, fwfemails@gmail.com, because I look at the numbers of the show and I look at the people that watch live, and it really is like 20x of you guys that watch later on. And we want you to be able to interact with the show like the chat does. Like we have Money B in the chat telling us that the ribeye that he got from Texas Beef Traders was delicious, right? So If you guys have ideas for the show or things you'd like us to discuss or use feedback or want to sponsor the show, any of that stuff, that's the best place to get to us is FWF. If you have questions, you ask Cody how much he bench presses. FWFemails@gmail.com. We would love to engage with you guys who watch this the morning after. To anybody watching who's new, thank you for being here. We're here every night, so make sure and come back. Please tell a friend. We don't ask for it. We like to get in and talk football, but right now we'll just say, please like the show. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps. It's free to do. I can't tell you how much it really helps. It really does help. It's absurd how much it helps. So if you could just please do that. If you just click, it's right there. Just click the like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. All right. Love y'all, man. Final takes tomorrow. It's going to be a big Thursday here on Orange Bloods Live. Do we have outsiders tonight?
Yes.
Outsiders tonight. Make sure and stick around. And the boys will be back tomorrow for the old-fashioned show and House Divided and all the rest here on Orange Bloods Live. All right, man. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night, your Thursday morning, Friday morning, whenever it is you're listening. God bless you guys. We love y'all very much, all right? For Cody, I'm Alex. We are done.